Boy, it's been a long time coming from this. Actually finding my path. Maybe some paths cross or with other beings. Other times you find other ways. You just exist. But on the path to really trying to find yourself, really trying to find a reason to exist. It's coming back that road to come back home to truly find yourself and what you were on your homeland, and no really big or small part of this world can ever be outside of it. I mean, sure, I've had some small or bigger parts of a philosophy that have probably could actually say that it's not exactly just part of spirituality for me. It's kind of my way of life. And I started with these two simple principles: fight to survive. In darkness there is light, and in light there is darkness. Those two, for the longest time, I still had those two that I've lived by and warranted, tried to find some truth in them. One was my warrior's way, the other was just a means to really find out what could actually be, what could exist, and being able to explore it. Sure, I've had friends, family, a lot of different people along the way to help me. You either walk the path alone or you walk it without conviction that the fact that you are self-isolating yourself away from everything else, but also every other time seeking guidance from those that are more experienced than you, that have actually had a harder time dealing with that problem than you were, and then just solving them. Sure, I might say I'm slightly more enlightened now than I ever could ever be than when I was, well, say, what? It's been in human years, almost 7 years back when I first started this. And to me, I was completely ignorant back then. I just didn't understand what I could really see, and of all the perspectives and different beings and cultures that could ever exist, there's very little to be compared to when you finally look and see that there is so much that is different, that there is very little that you can compare to yourself. But at the same time, that you also can compare to others. I say that because some of our culture, human culture, has been part of these three tribes: Nordic, Arabian, and tribal. Some of the tribal actually joined up with Nordic as well. So you have crosses of alliances and all that. I mean, I'm not excluding the tribal regions of Africa and when they actually started being influenced by some of the more Nordic or Nordic tribal influences from up north. I mean, it's no different, really. Each of them have different behaviors. It's no different to me. When you have three different cultures all together, and then you see that Nordic is actually, I mean, like pure freaking Nordic. Iceland's gotten a lot better at doing what no one else can because they know how to survive better. They've been the toughest out of the entire world. I mean, sure, they may not be thriving, but they live off of nature, don't they? So in a way, they're also reverting to a tribal aspect. Sort of their own way. Dang it, quit that. Keep shortening out. I'm just still getting used to the whole having my wings thing. Ah, damn it. My aura's gotten a lot stronger, thanks to some. Okay, you know what? Forget it. If it goes off next time, whatever. Anyway, I considering he will not be named, well, I mean, sure, I will return the favor. I give you that much. Just no, nothing that I can't do within reason, you know. That's the kind of thing I've learned how to make promises over the years, or what seems like years, to an extent that far exceeds that of some wisdom that many other beings have faltered on. I guess you could say in some of their business and trade attributes that they used over the years to keep other planets afloat. Same with other dimensional parallels, really. Um, I can say for sure that the dark parallels themselves, if you wanted to go explore there, it's very dangerous. I wouldn't go there without knowing for sure that you have what it takes to actually find who you need to, you know, get a helping hand out of a hole that you know you've already dug. For me, it was more subconsciously, while I was consciously trying to think about what I did in the first place, and you know, put things into a lot worse perspective, and then into a better perspective, and then back again and back and forth. That whole yin yang thing. I mean, sure, I just kind of say this is probably going to be one of the last public videos I'm going to be making, but if I don't, well, again, still the whole drunk thing, because I am still very much of the whole I'm shell shocked thing from the last other a few things that I've done with the Federation, a lot of the other archangels in general that were, I guess you could say, taking turns with leadership. Heck, I even had my own turn with it, and I didn't do so well a few times, but I learned from that as well. You can't have any perspective on spirituality without knowing all of the perspectives that can be seen in just about every culture possible. For me, it's different. I know this might be a little bit of a political downfall for me personally, but hey, I've been a hypocrite so far, haven't I? I always change my outlook to some extent. People change always. That's the thing you really should know most about them, humanity. They're more likely to change than to stay the same, as the term goes. The real truth of it is that, sure, I've become one of the Grims. The Grims have a rather morbid job to do, or task, depending on which planet or parallel you're at, and that's to manage the population of souls that go in and out of a place or a planet, parallel, etc., goes down the line. As long as it's inhabitable, it can be managed. Sure, different styles and different Grims in general are all but placed and put somewhere where they know it's possible. Humanity, unfortunately, I can say for sure that the memories of the Grim, or past Grims that I have been given, of the ones that retired or have been defeated and placed by, or replaced by other Reapers, so to speak, has really put in perspective what really goes on behind the scenes. I know for sure that now that there is more to this planet than meets the eye. Every time someone reincarnates, their memories are wiped, not by us, but by the planet itself. Kind of treats a new soul like a virus. It's sad to say, but that's the nature of this planet. I've come to see that as with all living things that live on this planet, it's got to have some sort of metabolism, right? Some sort of a heartbeat. Of course, that's my perception on it. There's a few guardians. I mean, you could say guardian angels or guardian this or guardian that, but there are gate guardian, depending on where they're from or what gate they guard specifically. I've kind of seen some of the places where they reside, but I haven't gotten the gumption to go near them, because you do go near them, you're not coming back. And a lot of what I mean, a lot of what I've seen from a distance. I mean, you don't get totally close to it. Like you can see like a tiny speck. That's how far off you gotta be to really do it. But anyways, it just blew my whole inspirational vibe thing. Whatever. But nonetheless, I mean, sure, I have my family that it's more of light parallels, I guess you could say, versus the dark parallels. Each of them divided, yin yang, that sort of thing. Differing beings, cultures, way of life. I mean, hell, I freaking figured out a little bit about the demon culture, which sucks, I know. But um, what they really want, they kind of want the same thing that we want as light beings, and but in a more defined way. They constantly want others to do it for them. I can't say that I wouldn't. I don't blame them. I can kind of sympathize with them on that since I've sort of been down that road before myself, personally. But the point of it really is that they want to seek a different kind of light. Their light is their darkness. So, from their point of view, light is darkness to them. And vice versa for us. I mean, constantly, I've seen a lot of the light, but very little of the darkness because I haven't been able to remain in it for so long. But I've been in it long enough to learn enough about it. But what true darkness is, chaos and stuff like that, when you fought it long enough, you really start to see some of the crap that it can actually try to do to light beings so it can have its way with everything else. I've been thinking a lot about how these gates and seals and stuff like that. I mean, sure, the archangels have guarded a few of the gates from time to time in place of the guardians themselves. I haven't had that chance, but for a moment, a fleeting moment, each in that moment, several different types of beings came my way, wanting to open it. Of course, I didn't let them. There's knowing what's behind some of these gates. I would rather not put into perspective or describe what it is because it's that bad. I mean, sure, you have the last few battles between these tribes before the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria. That really caused a major problem, but it also caused humanity to become a little bit more united in a way. So, darkness can either hide what needs to be hidden, or it can consume everything and leave no traces of what was left. That's what happened during those wars. Only traces are what remain in the subconscious bloodline of humanity. There's a story to be told by each and every one of the three factions. Not factions if you want to call cross factions. I've sort of made my choice. Whatever it may be in the future, I'll probably say something else completely different, I'm sure. But I know for sure that one, I'm definitely staying with my real family, who I consider my real family. And two, as long as I'm a Reaper, humanity will have to learn from the deaths that actually come from it. I take no pleasure in having the Reapers that I have under my command deal with the souls here. I would like nothing more to allow humanity to continue to exist as immortal. But Source has much greater plans in that humanity is evolving all the but more quicker because we are able to manage them so. It's death that allows others to come in and start working to try to experience and gain their own divinity, whatever that may be. If they don't gain their divinity, well, that's just something to really be thought about time and time again. As for the clan that I have put forward, maybe someday when humanity has finally become truly immortal, I have been allowed to withdraw as well as allow all the Reapers to withdraw and find some place else that is needed of our tasks, or we're no longer required at all. That finally humanity can protect itself. Find one, I hate to say the word, but there's no other explaining it, but perfect being among the entire mass that can has the perfect physical aspects as well as all the way down to morals and attributes that would define them as human. Still, it's the more heroic ones that I've come to recruit to my clan. Can't say that thousands of others put enough forward, but you never really know. It's always something completely different. When you have thousands of hours alone to ask yourself, how is it that we can put so much into our world but never get anything back? Sure, I might be one of those elites, so to speak, that some might despise, but hey, I don't have a choice in the matter. Uh, okay. I thought the mic was broken there for a second. As far as I'm concerned, yes, I could actually go against the wishes and let my own human free will do the talking. I've done it in small little tidbits around the world to see who would be able to manage it. So far, none of them really have taken that part of what it really means to be immortal. To really find a true existence among the stars, and to really find what they really are. I've seen plenty, but now I know I've seen enough. To be able to explore and search for things is only a portion of it. To actually be and exist, well, that's harder said than done. Because humanity, despite all its attributes and heroic aspects, still has one thing missing. That one thing could very well mean the end of what you are, or to redefine who you are. Can I actually say what it is? Let's just call it. When you put a name to things, it seems to take away its power now, doesn't it? I guess finding your own grace. Grace is part of my own divinity, as far as I'm concerned. My own aspect. I strive for so much. And yet, I still have yet to fully attain it. Sure, I'm close to it, but just by slight. That last step, as far as I'm concerned, would actually be to allow others to try to find that, to find their grace. So, how much are you willing to really sacrifice before you find that? For me, sacrificing my own time, learning from some of the betters, some of my own betters that I know could very well have pushed me over the edge and made me a little more chaos oriented. Instead, they chose to give me a little sight of what grace really is. It's not like beauty. It's not like love. It's not like any of any human emotion. It's much more complicated than any human mind could comprehend. Which is why I am not. I've given up that part of me to be lesser than human to some extent. As foolish as it sounds. I mean, sure, you could say, well, how many times you have to fall to pick before you pick yourself back up? Well, you make mistakes, have mistakes here and there, but humanity has a way of adapting and surviving. So, adaptation, fight to survive. For me, simple as that. Adapt as fast as possible. And for me, that was actually becoming hybrid to some extent. For the longest times, being a fighter, I didn't really have much to fight for. Trying to find reason to make even more trouble. And finding myself that I've actually gotten myself into trouble as opposed to causing it. Which has also cost me a few of my friends along the way. Do I regret all of that? A little, but it's without regret that I wouldn't be able to find myself in that period of time. Is a fighter that's completely different. But as someone who's never actually fought before, can see their perspective, but I cannot live their perspective. It's completely different as a whole. I feared that after a while I wouldn't be able to find my way back after I finished. But I think in a way, this is more fitting in. It's a never-ending story that will probably continue for the rest of my entire existence. To really find your wings, to find your grace, to be able to push forward and continue to exist no matter how hard it gets. To be able to adapt faster than any being possible. That, in a way, is my grace. But most of all, above all else, is being able to watch as humanity grows and understand that some beginnings are endings, some endings are beginnings. Even more so